morning, and thanks for coming to this. We're going to talk about the fairly contentious topic, CMIO. So let me just begin with a very broad start. Should we have racial categorization at all? Should we identify people by race, or should we, or not?
I'm for no.
Tell us why.
No. I don't think it's a useful way of classifying people, especially as an official category. I think what it does is it reduces people to one of these four boxes, and then allows people to be categorized by these four boxes in ways that is unfair.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Housing is something that comes up quite often when I talk about CMIO with friends. I recently bought a HDB flat, and so I fall in the O category, being Eurasian. Yeah. And there's a lot of discussion about
I/O.
I/O, exactly.
Yeah.
It's
only three buckets, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So for some reason, I and O, for this reason, they're in the same bucket.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of confusion around this thing. So on my part, I feel like, I have a smaller chance of getting what I want, and my Chinese friends are, you're so lucky, you'll get preferential treatment. And so there's all this confusion around all these buckets and these ways of splitting people up. That's one thing, but also it comes to renting policy, where people feel comfortable categorizing potential tenants. We don't want Indians. I think we don't actually know how big a problem it is. I would venture there's a bigger problem here.
So you're with no racial categorization because you think it pigeonholes people, or it
pigeonholes people, and I don't think it's a very good way of categorizing people. If you're talking about demographic categorization, there's things like education levels, income levels. All these other descriptors are much more descriptive of who they are as people, rather than just who your parents happen to be, or who your grandparents happen to be. Or in my case, am I Eurasian? Am I Chinese? Am I Portuguese? Am I Irish? Am I any of the other things that I may not know anymore? So which box would you like to put me in, and judge me based on that?
But do you think that you don't want racial categorization because of its downsides on a policy side, or its downsides on a personal side? Because I think those are quite different, right?
Yes.
I mean, even if I don't show you my IC, you might already judge me as being Indian, and then I have these biases, right? I mean, you might make those decisions.
That's true. I think I don't think we can separate them so neatly. I think, especially in this part of the world, especially in this country, policy does inform the personal in a very real sense. It doesn't describe what Singapore is right now. So many other races that happen to fall into O now. I think if we want to categorize people, I mean, that's what policy does. Policy puts people into different buckets or quadrants or sectors, and tries to design to support society. Then let's look for better descriptors.
Okay, all right. Well, anybody else with a no? Just get rid of CMIO. You don't think we should have racial categorization?
I think we should have it, still to a certain degree, because I understand why it was implemented in the first place. In the period of colonization, when CMIO was first implemented as a grid system, they wanted to use it to divide and rule. And then in the process of decolonization, they then saw that they could bring people together. But I think some of the stereotypes perpetuated when it was first implemented, and they used this also for the betterment of I think, putting people together. For example, they didn't want, at that time, in their opinion, the Chinese people to cheat the Malay people. A lot of the Malay people were producers, and the Chinese people were merchants. But in today's day and age, I think with cosmopolitanism and globalization reaching an all-time high, I think it has to be adjusted a little bit. But I think on a state level, it's still kind of necessary, especially when you're looking out for minorities. And if you just abolished it altogether, I think you would see that human nature being slightly clannish, again, this is a personal opinion, will cause some issues without some form of intervention by understanding that there are differences also.